Okay.
We're ready whenever.
All right, everybody. My name is Corey Cortez. We're about to have another one of our WebEx town halls, this time for the December release. You guys might recognize me from the workshop last week where we discussed the change impacts. So our agenda today is going to go over a few reminders for you, and we're going to go over the resources page just to make sure everybody knows where to get the latest information. We've got a few takeaway questions from the workshop that we wanted to cover, and then we have our SME here, Shirley, from SCO Disbursements. She wants to go over some of the changes to the replacement warrant process, and then we've got a demonstration. So some reminders. Go live is planned for December 3rd. And as part of that, we just sent the task BUSN 912, complete all GL journal approvals. So that's coming from Fiscal, and essentially it's asking all departments to approve all of the journals that are currently in the system. When we go live, SCO is going to be a part of the journal workflow, and we would just want to make sure that there's no issues there that cause unnecessary rework, because you may get kicked out of that workflow when we go live if those journals are not approved. So the task is to get that done by Thursday, November 29th. And for more information, refer to the task BUSN 912. So we had a conversation for role mapping. Last week, we had some departments come to us, let us know that they hadn't received the task. So I just want to let you know that we did some more analysis, and we did find a few deltas. Not a whole lot, but we're going to make sure that all departments get the outreach from Fiscal so that you guys get your roles. And so what that means is that now all departments require workflow. So some of your departments may have workflow. It doesn't really apply to you. And then some of your departments may be pre-approved. And if you're pre-approved, you know who you are, you came and talked to me, or you sent an email to Fiscal CMO. We're going to make sure that you guys get the task as well. And if you don't have workflow, the big change for you guys is that you will now have to make sure that you have one GL approver so that they can certify the journals. All journals will need certification. And we'll show you what that looks like. I don't know if we're going to show you the page, what the approvals are. We're going to go through at least how to create a GL journal transaction request that you do in paper today, just a little bit later for our demonstration. All right, so the next thing I wanted to get into is we do have some training planned to help your departments get a better understanding of what's going on for the Milestone 3 December release. You'll see here we've got 3 new job aids. We've got a few updates to existing job aids, and then we've also got one University of Fiscal update. So the University of Fiscal update is just approving GL journals. It's incorporating some of the certification screens into the training, and it also is recommended for all of the new GL approvers. The certification screen is, I think it's pretty straightforward, but if you do need some help, you can go there if you already do approval and retake the training. However, if you're a new approver, we recommend that you'll take that training, and you should see some information about it as you receive the role. For the new job aids, we've got a job aid. We'll get some job aid numbers on this too before we post it online. There should be a communication coming out this week to get you these job aids. They're currently in approvals, just getting the last minute validations on them. We give you some highlights of what the overall changes were and some extra information so departments would have a better understanding of when to send transaction requests in paper form to SCO, or when to continue doing those in Fiscal as GL journals. Gives you a lot of information on that, as well as some of the changes to AP journal vouchers. So look forward to that. Highly recommend you take a look at that when it comes out. We gave you an example, which we're covering kind of today, of just using a transaction request GL journal, and that's kind of correcting the claim journal entries in Fiscal. We've also working on, we heard a lot of feedback from departments about the process relating to claims coming in and doing catch-up vouchers today. So we're not going to talk too much more about that this session, but we've worked with some of our SMEs here at Fiscal to come up with a more comprehensive suggestion or advice, recommendation for how departments should transact, at least the departments that do expedites or have utilities and they need those reports to suppliers. So we'll get that to you, the town hall, the week before we go live. I believe that's on November 28th. The invite for that should have already been sent. So if you don't have it, please talk to your department liaison. And then we've got some existing job aid updates, very small changes to the PFA process, just some small minor updates to that. So if you are involved in the PFA process, please go check that out. If you currently use the GL spreadsheet journal upload, you'll want to make sure that you go download the new version of that upload, which will be available when we go live. And that this job aid just gives you some additional information about that. Some of the new fields like SCO transaction or SCO type of transaction will be included in that. And then we've got the approving a GL journal job aid, which goes over the certification if you prefer job aid form rather than having the University of Fiscal form. And then finally, we'll have some catch-up videos, some just videos. I think of them as video job aids. We'll post those on the resources page to help out as we get closer to go live. So as a reminder for everybody, if you don't know where the resources page is at, if you go to fiscal.ca.gov, the Fiscal webpage, you click Library and Resources. Our page for this release is going to be the SCO-STO integrated solution. And all the new content that we release will be under Milestone 3. This includes, we are going to be uploading the recording to this page for the Impact Workshop from last week, and we will also be uploading the recording and presentation today on the web resources page. So we can look forward to that. We'll get a pretty quick turnaround on that for you guys. All right, the next topic is we've got some takeaway questions from last time. There was a question, what backup documents will be required for journal voucher transaction requests? And these are going to be the same type of backup documents that you, or any kind of supporting documentation that you include today with your journal vouchers. We had a question, what is the turnaround time for SCO approval? This is, some of our SCO staff here at Fiscal are still speaking with the SCO staff back home. So they'll get some more confirmation on that at a later date. Hopefully we'll get some more answers to that by the next town hall. And then for departments with many utility vendors that do paper transactions outside of Fiscal, if you are doing vouchers outside of Fiscal, we recommend you, as much as possible, you do those in Fiscal. That'll save you some of these issues with capturing things. We know that that might be a little more work because sometimes you can have 5 or 6 suppliers in the same claim, I think up to 12. But it's going to be a more complete process, get all of your supplier information if you include those just by doing the separate vouchers. We know that there isn't a workaround here for you to do vouchers if you have expedites or special handling. So Fiscal is going to continue to work and get that functionality in Fiscal as much as possible. Until then, we are going to discuss with you some workarounds with that $0 voucher during the next town hall. All right, before we move on with Shirley from SEO, I would like to open up for any questions.
Can you repeat the information from the beginning about when to cut off vouchers we create and approve for the SEO go live on December 3rd?
Cut off vouchers?
I think they're probably talking about the GL vouchers.
Okay. So the cutover logistics is around GL journal approvals. It's just to make sure that you get your GL journals approved out of that workflow by 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 29th to be ready for go live, because if they're in there, you may get kicked out. And if you need more information, we recommend you go to the task BUSN 912. That has all of the information about cutover. We'll also be sending some more cutover communications as we get closer, just as reminders about this process and to give you as much information as possible.
Thank you.
Okay. So the replacement warrant process, we have Shirley. Would you pass Shirley the mic? Please introduce yourself, Shirley.
Hello, this is Shirley Dong with the State Controller's Office. I'm with the Disbursements Group, and one of the functions in disbursements is post-issuance. So for fiscal, starting in December, we're going to make a change in terms of lost and destroyed warrants. Back in 2014, we changed our terminology in reference to duplicate warrants and changed the language to replacement warrants. In current process through December, we will be issuing duplicate warrants, meaning that warrant numbers are, when we replace warrants through the lost destroyed process, warrant numbers that were issued with the original warrants are used in the duplicate warrants. Starting in fiscal, when we start issuing processing lost and destroyed warrants, we will be using replacement warrants. So that means that the number will change from the original warrant number to a totally different new replacement number. We wanted to share this information with agencies who know this process because they probably won't be able to reference back to the original warrant number. So there is a code, the code change was made in Government Code 17090 through 97 that explains this. Also in SAM, the SAM Manual 8426.1, it explains the lost and destroyed warrant process. And so this is the process that we'll be assigning replacement warrant numbers in fiscal. Right now, and also to help agencies, there is a new report from fiscal, RPTA P089, which is a replacement warrant report. So that report will reference the original, after we process like a standard 435 to place a stop payment and we're ready to replace the warrant replacement warrant. We will generate the warrant and send it out as we normally do, but then a report will also be generated for the agency. And the report will be a hard copy that we will disperse to the agency. Again, it will reference the original warrant number as well as the replacement warrant number. So we wanted to share this in this town hall meeting, as well as we're going to create a disbursements memo to let and to remind agencies so that they'll have that information. If you have any questions regarding this, please direct them to the CMO office, and we'll try to get information from you for that way.
Do we have any questions?
Yeah, we have to.
Oh.
Any impact on the ALO GL allocation journal for this release?
I don't think that's the question.
No, it's not a disbursement-related question, but
Yeah, no, there are no disbursements.
Nancy, is that a question that you can answer?
Any impact on ALO GL allocation journal for this release?
No.
No. Thank you, Nancy. And then another question. Our department currently uses 2 user IDs for manual payments. Will these second user IDs remain active after go live?
Mm-hmm. You know, as far as I know, there's no change to the secondary IDs from departments, so those will still be active.
Okay, thank you.
If you guys have any questions about the replacement warrant process, we'll just give you a little bit more time for that.
Yeah, there are. So will the replacement check have a new issue date?
So as in current process, the original warrant information, meaning the payee name, the issue date, the dollar amount, address information, will remain the same. If the stop payment form has a new updated address, then we'll put that on, but the date will not change. So the only thing other than the address will be the warrant number.
And there is one more. Will they put the new warrant number on page 3 of the STD 435?
No, I don't believe they will. So we will just send out the new report. I mean, I think if we get the third page that comes along with the application, then we may just go ahead and attach it, depending, because we don't, a lot of times we don't get that third page back, so we don't. And also I wanted to add, this is only for non-payroll warrants. So if we do a stop payment on a 435, and it has a payroll or garnishment warrant, that will remain a duplicate warrant because that is an impact to our payroll personnel's system. So we will keep the original information for those. So if there's a need for a replacement for if a payroll or garnishment warrant is lost or destroyed and you use a 113A or a 435, that replacement will still be a duplicate, meaning it will reference the original warrant number.
I can just ask the question, and then if you can repeat on the microphone for the online users. Will replacement warrants still begin with R dash?
No, these.
Oh, you have to repeat the question.
Oh, sorry. The question was, will the replacement still have an R dash number on when we issue that replacement? And no, sorry. To clarify, it will be for the payroll and garnishment if we do a duplicate. That if it's a replacement warrant under fiscal for any other non-payroll warrants, there will not be an R number. This will be, actually it'll look like a brand new warrant, and the series we've chosen is 59 series, so it'll start with 59 dash, and it'll be where the normal warrant number would be. So it will be an original, fresh issue. There won't be an R number above the amount box.
Okay. I'll say thank you to Shirley. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come here and talk about the replacement warrant process. And like Shirley said, if any departments have any questions on this, you can send an email to the fiscal.cmo@fiscal.ca.gov, and then we'll forward it to our SCO staff here on Fiscal and get an answer for you. All right, thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go into some of the demonstrations. We're going to start with Nancy. So Nancy Tedlos is our GL SME for today. She'll be going over the department GL process.
While we have Nancy set up, we had a couple more questions come in, so I'll just go ahead and ask them there related to disbursements. If the issue date on the replacement warrant doesn't change, won't that cause a problem with stale dating?
No, because all we're doing is, so the reason we made this change is that between the Treasurer's Office and banks and also individuals, the concept of a duplicate was a little bit confusing. So basically, to make it akin to real life or personal, it's kind of like if you have a personal check, when you cancel it or put a stop payment, you're not going to use the same check number. So that's what we're pretty much adopting, is that we're going to just issue the same check. I mean, but we're referencing, because that warrant was issued under some appropriation, so it's going to be voided and canceled. The original warrant will be voided and canceled in the system, but that's just kind of as a reference, because that warrant is still good for 1 year from the issue date. So that's why we still keep the original issue date.
And there's one more. Do we have to submit the stop payment to STO for the replacement and duplicate warrant?
No, that remains the same. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Do we have to submit the stop payment to STO for the replacement and duplicate warrant? Do you want me?
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the question is, like, does the stop payment or 435 form need to be submitted to the State Treasurer's Office STO? No, the standard 435 is an STO document, so State Controller's Office. So normally what happens is the agency would fill out the warrant information. It goes out to the payee for signature and for them to fill out. Then that is forwarded to the State Controller's Office. We'll check the status, we'll place a stop if it's outstanding, and we'll go ahead and replace it.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the questions about the replacement warrant process. Shirley is going to lead that? Okay. All right, so we're going to transfer over to Nancy. Nancy, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Nancy Tedlos. I'll be go over the GL Journal and just go over some of the new things that you'll see in the GL Journal. So I've already navigated to create update journal entries. Typically, when you create a new journal, you would go ahead and click on the Add a New Value tab and enter your information here. However, just because of for our presentation, I've already went ahead and created a journal. Sorry, it's a bit. So I just wanted to go over, like I said, some of the key change impacts to the GL Journal. One of them that you would see is the SEO type of transactions. This is not needed for lower departmental level transactions, but is needed for anything that will impact statewide chart field values. So if an SEO type of transaction isn't selected, but it is impacting the statewide statewide chart fields, then it will automatically route to SEO for approval, and they will deny it because it needs that SEO type of transaction selected in there. So once it's denied, departments just need to go ahead and select the correct SEO type before resubmitting to SEO. Another change is, if you see here, is it's the journal description, legal authority, and reason for request, which was renamed from long description. So basically, this is required if an SEO type of transaction is selected and is equivalent to the transaction request, CA 504 box. Another change I wanted to show you is if you go to the lines, you scroll over all the way, as you can see here, all the chart field strings have been completed, but what I really wanted to show you was the transaction description here. So if a SEO type is selected, a transaction description is required. So once you've entered all your chart field strings, you'll go ahead and process this. Sorry, it's taking a little bit.
Well, process, Nancy, I noticed you had the SEO type of transaction as catch-up. What does that mean?
Basically, what a catch-up is when the department has not entered a transaction that SEO has already entered in their book of records. So they have to put it in their book of records, which is the SCAL.
And what kind of situations would that be used?
One of the situations, an example here would be like Smith interest. So in this example, SEO already recorded in their books, and for whatever reason, the department hasn't done it yet, and so they're catching up and needing to put that in their books. Sorry, it's taking a really long time.
Yeah, this is in our test environment, so it doesn't have as many computing resources as production.
Let's see. So one of the other changes, I guess I could talk about while this is processing is the SEO workflow. So that's something new. Departments before the transactions didn't workflow to SEO go live, it will. So certain SEO types won't need to go to workflow, such as catch-up, but the majority will. And oh, here we go. So once we submit this, its journal status is V, budget status is V, meaning valid. I just wanted to show you here on the approval page. It doesn't have any approvers yet, but once I submit it, because it's a catch-up, you'll see it'll only go for departmental approval. It won't need an SEO approval. Again, it's taking a little bit, so sorry about that. So the next step is, this will go route to the departmental approver. The departmental approver would approve it, and this particular GL journal is done. However, if it required an SEO approval, then it would go ahead and route to SEO approver 1 and 2 before it can be posted. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate this for you, because another change is that all journals need to be certified. Oops. Did I miss a Z? I did. And so going back to the same journal that we just submitted for approval.
Does it show up in the work list?
Yes. Yeah, this is a yeah.
Typically, these will just show up in your work list like any GL journal does today.
Okay, so this is the journal that we submitted, and we'll go ahead and go to the approval page. And as you can tell here, there's a certified button. So you'll have to click that before you can approve it. And then once it's been certified, you can go ahead and submit that for approval.
Do all journals need to be certified?
Yes, all journals have to be certified. And once the journal is approved, you can go ahead and post it.
So if SEO approval isn't required,
Yes.
do these interface to SEO Legacy?
No, it is not.
Does anything interface to SEO Legacy that doesn't require SEO approval?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. So this is posted. This is catch-up, and it will not interface back to Legacy. So the only things that will be workflowed or, interface back to Legacy are GL journals that have been approved, budget checked, and posted. And by approved, I mean SEO approval. And that's pretty much it.
Can you quickly just talk about some of the other SEO types of transactions that departments would use?
Sorry, it's easier when I post them up. So there's, I guess, a lot of different types that can be utilized. One of them would be a claim schedule correction. You can do non-budget act transfers, no warrants claim schedule. So all of these are listed here for the users to pick.
And just so everybody knows, there's a lot more information about each of these in the job aid. I think it's job aid 404, the SCO approval of GL journals and AP journal vouchers. That'll have a lot more information on this and give you more understanding of how to use each of these. Okay, thank you. And then we can open up to questions now.
Okay. Questions? Yeah, we have 4 so far. What information should be populated in the transaction description field?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
What information should be populated in the transaction description field?
It would be the same as what you would put in the journal description, legal authority.
Okay, thank you. You said all journals need to be certified before approving the journal. Is this only for the catch-up journals?
No, all journals. It doesn't matter what kind.
Next question. If a journal entry requires SCO approval, when will it be posted to the KK ledger?
Yeah, budget check.
So when you do budget check. Why would departments need to certify Smith or any other posting that SCO generates?
It's a requirement.
Okay, so is that a new requirement?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So a new requirement for jail journals. Okay, we got a couple more. Did you say that the field for SCO type of transaction is required for all JEs?
No, only for those impacting statewide chart fields.
And there's a question about what was the job aid number. It's going to be Fiscal 404. It is not yet posted, but it should be within the next week or so. And then what time does SCO pick up jail journals for approval? So I think they're maybe asking about
Yeah, that's a pending question. We'd have to talk to SCO about that.
Okay.
Back home.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. That's all for now.
Yeah, so the only time you'll have to use an SCO type of transaction is in the same instances where you send a transaction request today. Is that correct, Nancy?
Anytime you have statewide chart field impacts, so one of them would be if you're sending a transaction request, correct? Mm-hmm.
All right, Nancy will still be here if you guys think of any GL-related questions. Next, we're going to have Maricela.
Real quick, Nancy. If we only need to change something on SCO side, but Fiscal is correct, should we still do a paper transaction request?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have a user asking for the PowerPoint. We will post the PowerPoint and the recording of this WebEx. It's going to be in one on the SCO Integrated Solutions page within the next few business days. After SCO approves journal, are we going to receive the journal entry from SCO?
Yes, they will.
Yes, so you will receive a JE from SCO after it approves the journal. If we want to unpost a journal, will it require SCO approval?
No, it would not.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I think it depends. It depends on when they're trying to unpost it. If they're trying to unpost it prior to it being, I'm trying to think. Sorry.
introduce yourself.
Hello. My name is Carmen Fernandez. Can you repeat the question again?
If we want to unpost a journal, will it require SCO approval?
You can close the journal.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, in today, if you are posting a journal that is like impacting the control account, that you need SEO to unpost it, or FSC to unpost it. So in the future, if you are posting a journal that SEO already approved it, then absolutely you need SEO approval as well.
And then we got another question. Will the SCO JE number match the fiscal JID number?
No, it won't. So SEO has its own journal entry number. It will start with $J, if I'm not mistaken. So it would not match the fiscal JE number. So you will have to look at your tab run and reconcile it. Just like you do it today, SEO has a JE number, you have a fiscal journal ID number.
Thank you, Carmen and Nancy. That's all for now.
Okay, my name is Maricela Mercado, and I'm going to be showing you the new things that you'll be seeing in the journal voucher. So I'm going to go into Accounts Payable, Vouchers, Add/Update, and Regular Entry. So normally you would go into Add a New Value here, but I've already done a journal voucher for the purpose of this demonstration. So I'm going to go into the Invoice Information tab here. So the new things that you're going to be seeing is, one, you now need the related voucher that you're correcting here. So for example, if you don't have this, you won't be able to save it. You'll get this message here stating that you need the related voucher. Another new thing that we have here is the legal authority and reason for request. So as Nancy mentioned before, this is only needed for those items that are going to be routing over to the State Controller's Office for approval. And again, you would put what you normally put now on the paper transfer requests. And another new thing that we have here is the catch-up JV. So as stated before, the catch-up is an option for if you've already submitted a paper transaction over to the controller's office and it's already been recorded there in their system, but it has not been recorded here in Fiscal, you would just click Catch-up JV here, and it will not be routed over to the State Controller's Office. So here we have a journal voucher of which I'm changing the program. So for this purpose, I'm just going to put test here. Submit for approval. And here you can see that there's 2 levels of departmental approval and 2 levels of SCO approval. So now I'm going to show you the voucher where it's a catch-up JV. Okay, so I've already clicked right here that it's a catch-up JV. So since it is a catch-up, this is not going to be routing over to the state controller's office, so I would not need to put the legal authority and reason. As you can see here, no approvals required. Before I conclude this, I also wanted to show you all where you can validate your accounting entries. So we're going to go main menu, Fiscal Processes, Fiscal Extensions, and Subsystem Accounting Entries. If you click the search button, you'll be able to see where you can get your accounting entries. So I'll just click on voucher here so you can see. You would put your BU, your voucher ID, click search, and you'll be able to see your accounting entries.
Marisol, how about for the claims that are going to be interfaced in?
If you go back to return to search, you have an option here for claim. So the required fields are, you need the business unit and the SCO claim ID, so the claim schedule number.
And so will all claim schedule header level accounting interface into Fiscal?
Yes.
Will all JVs need approval?
All JVs will need approval. Right. Oh no, I'm sorry. Journal vouchers? No, not all will need approval.
When will they need approval?
So you're going to need to have it approved if there's a change in like the appropriation, like the reference. And if there's a change like within funds, you'll need it to be approved. But for example, if you're changing from like a 51 series account, which is your personal expense, to like a 53 series, which is your operations expense, you would not need that to be approved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Maricela?
We have 5 questions so far. Are you using your primary ID or secondary for this transaction?
I had to use someone else's ID for this transaction. So
But would they be using their primary?
their primary ID.
Okay, thank you. What is the cross-reference for the Fiscal Journal to SCOJE Legacy?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What is the cross-reference for the Fiscal Journal to SCOJE? And then it said Legacy in parentheses. Do we need clarification?
The cross-reference to the JE?
For the Fiscal Journal to SCOJE.
Is it a dollar for the journal voucher?
I'm sorry?
Is it established as dollar sign, dollar, J dollar or?
Yeah, I don't have it off the top of my head, so it would have to be a takeaway.
Okay, thank you. Is SCO going to have the CD 102 mailed to us?
I am not sure on that either.
Okay, so we'll take both of those questions
take
away,
away.
and then
Is the register of what they pay?
Does that happen? Are those all today?
so we'll take both of those questions away, and then the other question was, is there a job aid for this process? It's going to be the same one as for the GL Fiscal 404. Do we need to use our secondary user ID to create catch-up journal vouchers?
No.
Okay. And then we had one more come in. When will claim accounting appear in the subsystem accounting entries?
Claim accounting will come in. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that one, so it'll have to be a takeaway.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Is it daily?
Well, that will be daily. Was that the question? It wasn't very specific.
At least daily.
So for the when will claim accounting appear in the subsystem accounting entries, at least daily. But we will also take this question away and clarify along with the other two, and then we will have answers for you on our next WebEx Town Hall. What is the APJV for?
So journal voucher is a correction to a voucher.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maricela. We're going a little bit of ahead of schedule here, so that's good. Give a little bit of time back if we're not getting more questions. We'll still be here to answer questions. So I wanted to make a point that if you have a question now, we'll have some extra time here to answer them, and then we'll stay. We're planning to stay until 3:30, but we'll just stay until no more questions are coming in. But if you do find that you have a question after the session, please email fiscal.cmo@fiscal.ca.gov. I also wanted to take this time to ask for some feedback. We got some feedback that we know that we've had some technical difficulties for these sessions in the past. We worked really hard to try to improve the experience for you as end users. So if you have any feedback about how we do these WebEx town halls, please let us know. You can also send that feedback to fiscal.cmo@fiscal.ca.gov. If you like them, please let us know. If you don't like them or there's something that we can do better, please let us know. I just wanted to get that out there before we answer a few more questions.
For which scenarios is this APJV for? Can you provide examples, please?
So the JV that I demonstrated was a change in the program. And so if you need any type of correction to a voucher that you've done, then you would go in and create a journal voucher to make that correction.
Okay, thank you. I have no new questions at this time. We can give it a couple more minutes. Okay, here we go. Currently, we have departmental combo edit for project ID and statewide combo edit for reporting structure. How are we going to reclassify paper claim schedule to departmental chart fields like reporting structure, project ID, activity, and so on?
I think there's two ways, right? Carmen, do you know? Do you have an answer for that one? For reclassifying the claim, the journal entries that are coming in?
We classify the journal entries that are coming in?
Yeah, no, the claim schedules to a lower level department detail. How do you have the answer to that question?
So,
To reclassify the in the GL module because the AP.
Cool. Can you take the mic?
I'm not an AP SME, but I can probably help answer this question. As I understand, in Milestone 3, the claim file, TC50, is coming as a file, but it's not associated with any voucher. That's why if you want to reclassify it, that you have to do it in the GL journal to put it in the GL module.
And then from one of our SMEs from AP who's not here, Jeremy Grieber on the department side, some of you may know him. I think he mentioned that you can also do a reclassification using a $0 voucher. Like I said, we'll cover that process more in the specifics of it in the town hall on November 28th. Hopefully he should be here or his team will be here during that time. And we'll also have a job aid with more context around that process. But one of the ways you can do reclassification, as Carmen mentioned, is to use a GL journal. And Carmen, would that need to be approved by SCO to do a departmental reclassification like that? It would?
They will have to pick up the, they don't have to, they don't need SCO approval if they put in as a catch-up because this claim already posted in Legacy. Mm-hmm. So if it interfaces back to Legacy, it will double entry.
Okay, so they wouldn't need approval in that situation?
They would put it as catch-up.
So to do a reclassification, they would just put it as catch-up?
Yes.
Okay. So since it's just a departmental level reclassification, you won't need to do any SCO approvals if you use the catch-up.
When will the expedite and e-claim issue be discussed again?
The The AP expedite should be discussed more during the November 28th town hall. That is the week before we go live. So we'll have more of our... November 27th, pardon me. I think I've said that wrong, all town halls, so my apologies. The next session will be the November 27th, and during that time we'll have some of our SMEs who are familiar with that process who can provide some more context. That's the plan right now.
I pulled up the string main menu, fiscal processes, fiscal extensions, subsystem accounting entries. I see the document IDs, BIL, DJP. Anyway, they list a few more. I do not see claim accounting. When will this be available?
My understanding is that claim accounting won't be available till go live, but I think we'll have to take that away and give you a confirmation. If you don't see it now, then I'd assume you'll see it when you go live.
Okay.
Yeah, what you saw today during the demonstration was in our test environment, so that's in preparation for go live.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. After we create the JV to correct different appropriations, do we create the correction letter to workflow to SCO?
After go live, you will not need to submit a paper transaction request. So once you do the journal voucher and it is approved internally, departmentally, it will flow to SCO SARD, and then there's 2 levels of approval there.
And then after they approve, will it post in SCO Legacy? Yes. She answered yes.
When paper claims come in, what reporting structure is to be used? Can we have clarification on this question, please? Okay, I'll move on to the next one for now. BU0250 has missed the full presentation, WebEx link, and the phone number provided within the meeting invitation. Didn't work. We will contact you directly and figure that out. Okay, if we reclassify in the GL journal, can we tie it back to a vendor?
If you do it in a GL journal, you cannot tie it back to the vendor because there's no place for you to put the vendor information, and you may want to put it in somewhere in the long description field.
Okay, and I think that tying the claim payments that are interfaced in to suppliers, that's a conversation that we'll need to have during the November 27th town hall, because that's when we plan to have SMEs available who will have a better understanding of that topic.
Okay. Does SCO work the 504 form for JV in Fiscal or create a JE outside of Fiscal? Yeah. Does SCO work the 504 form for JV in Fiscal or create a JE outside of Fiscal?
So, Marisol, that's the transaction request form.
You would be able to do that within Fiscal if you're doing the JV. You won't need to submit a paper TR.
And I think that those SCO approvers you see on the approval screen, those are SCO users using Fiscal to do the approval. And then it's just a comment, if you know somebody who didn't get to invite or would like to invite to these sessions or future sessions, please send an email to fiscal.cmo@fiscal.ca.gov. At that point, we can forward it, or feel free to forward the invitation to the WebEx yourself if you know someone in particular. So we know that the department liaisons, we invite department liaisons, and then have your department liaisons forward it within the departments. So if you know someone, please just feel free to forward it as well.
Okay, thank you. What reporting structure is used by SCO to interface paper claims?
From what was said at the workshop last week, they said that the reporting structures that are interfaced into Fiscal will default, but we'll have to take away and make sure we can confirm that with our SMEs. So I don't know what the default values are.
Okay, thank you. If we cannot tie back to a vendor, how do we pull reports for these particular expenditures by vendor?
Yeah, so like I said, hopefully plan is we're working with the SMEs pretty closely. I know that they have their eyes and ears on the problem. We have our SME, our AP SME, Jeremy Griever, who's working on it, as well as some of the AP SMEs from SCO. They weren't able to attend today's session, so we don't have as much context for you. Hopefully we'll be able to get more of that for the next session on November 27th. And then hopefully they can give you some more understanding about what you can do to work around tying the claims back to your suppliers if you do fiscal, expedites and so forth.
To avoid double entry, we have credit expenditure with the high level and debit expenditure the departmental chart field. If we have combo edit in place, can we post GL journal and zero balance voucher without any combo edit error? Okay, we'll also take away that question.
You guys are giving us such good questions.
Thank you for your participation. I don't have any new questions at this time.
Okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and show you guys just one more thing. Yeah, I wanted to let you guys know that we know a lot of departments use the GL spreadsheet journal uploads to get your GLs in there. All of the fields that were discussed today, transaction description, SCO type of transaction, they have been updated, or they have been included into an updated version of the GL journal spreadsheet upload. And so if you're doing these transaction requests in fiscal as GL journals, you'll want to use the new version. However, just to let you know that that new version will not be available until the weekend we go live. You'll get more information in some of our cutover communications about that. The old version will continue to work, but it won't have the new fields that are required for certain types of transactions. So we recommend that when we do go live, if you are using that GL journal spreadsheet upload, that you then go to this page, which we'll once again communicate out later once the newer version is on here, and then download the newer versions. So there's actually two versions. People who are using this today are familiar with them. There is the job aid, which we're going to update, and that will be updated when we send out the communication. The plan is to get that out to you this week, because we know we want to get that out to you before we go on holiday for Thanksgiving. And then there's two different types of spreadsheets, one for non-Windows 10 and then one for Windows 10. So if you're used today, you'll probably know which one you're using, and it's pretty familiar, only minor changes. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that that is a change. We are looking out for including some of these changes into that spreadsheet journal upload. Are there any more questions?
Yeah, this one's pretty detailed. For TC23, when TC38 is posted, the R account shows in KK, but the cross-post TC23 T account authority doesn't show appropriation change in KK, which causes to generate an inaccurate budget report 6. How will it show under the M3 process?
So for TC38 that have a cross-post to TC23, those will be done in Legacy, and the TC23s will be interfaced into Fiscal so that the KK will be accurate.
Thank you, Nancy. Is this the only upload spreadsheet that will be changing in preparation for Go Live? I think that's in reference to the general ledger spreadsheet.
Maricela, do you know if there's a journal voucher upload spreadsheet or the voucher upload spreadsheet?
I don't know.
As far as I know, this is the only one that's changing, but we'll have to confirm to see if the voucher upload spreadsheet is changing as well. So that way to incorporate any changes from the journal voucher.
Okay, thank you. How does the related voucher function work for ORF?
Maricela, do you need a related voucher for ORFs?
I'm not sure.
We are not sure on ORF, so we will take away that question. So they're asking to repeat your answer to the TC 23 and 38 question, please.
So any TC 38 transactions that have cross-post to TC 23 will be done in Legacy. So we do have an interface that's being, it's an inbound interface, meaning it's coming from Legacy, SEO Legacy to Fiscal. So all TC 23s and TC 24s will automatically be posted in Fiscal in the KK ledger once it's been posted in Legacy.
And then from the workshop last week, we presented that today we know that departments send in a ticket to FSC, so you'll call up or email FSC to update those budgets for you. Nancy, will you continue to do that tomorrow?
For the case?
Will you continue to do that when we go live, I mean?
No, they won't need to open up a ticket or a case to update that.
Okay, so those budgets will be kept in line using the interface?
Yes, I think there are a couple of exceptions, but I don't know them off the top of my head right now. But for the most part, they don't need to open up a ticket. Okay.
And I do know we have some additional information about the TC 2324 process in the Fiscal 404 job aid that will be released.
Okay. Post go live, are you going to post increased authority for the T account?
That'll have to be a takeaway.
Okay. When will this presentation be uploaded to the website?
Well, our guy who really does that last week was out, so we had a little bit of a delay. We had some emails for the workshop because we know some departments wanted to get that to the departments. We're going to get that uploaded on the website as soon as we can. Luckily, he's in this week, and we'll see what we can do about that, getting it uploaded as soon as possible. I can't promise anything because it does take some time to do the transcribing and make sure the quality is good, and then getting it onto our website. We'll just do our best in this case.
Okay, thank you. No more questions at this time.
Okay. And just a little more on that topic, you go to the Fiscal webpage. I've already showed you this, but if you go to library, I just thought of it. Sometimes you'll see, if you click on library, you can hover over it, but if you click on it, you can also just click resources here. And then when you do go to our webpage, we're going to make sure that the presentations are uploaded like this, where you'll both get the presentation that we showed you today, as well as the webcast. So that's kind of the YouTube link. And then we'll make sure that the recording for this workshop will also be available. We know that we've got that upload on YouTube. We just need to update the website. So if you had already, sent an email into fiscal.cmo, we did send that to you. We're just making sure, working with our web team to make sure that this is up to date as well. Okay.
Thank you. I have another voucher question. When is a voucher corrected in GL module? I'm sorry? When is a voucher corrected in GL module? In the GL module? Mm-hmm.
Marisol, do you ever correct a voucher in GL module?
No, you did in the AP module.
Okay. So if that wasn't a sufficient answer, please provide clarification to your question.
Yeah, I don't think she was on the mic, so Marisol just said that you never correct a voucher in GL module. You use the journal voucher to correct a GL, or to correct a voucher, correct?
Yes, and that is in the AP module.
Let me give you the mic.
Journal vouchers are in the AP module.
Yeah, earlier we were mentioning correcting the claims interface, because as part of this release, one of the key impacts is that your claims, any claim schedules you do with you send to SCO, whether they're for their paper, for expedites, or special handling, or if you do electronic claims, all of that claim information will come through, and you'll be able to correct those in GL since they're not actually vouchers.
Okay. If we need to do negative PFA, what type of backup document do you need?
So if you want to, you do a negative PFA, that means in the previous PFA that you PFA too much. Now you want to do a negative PFA, so you will have to referencing which PFA that you are over PFA, so that SEO can referencing and look at the transaction that you submitted before.
Okay, so you have to link the original PFA to the negative PFA. Okay, sounds good. And that's it for now.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and close the session. I want to thank all of our SMEs who were able to make it today to do the demonstrations. We'll work as hard as we can to get this on the webpage as soon as possible. If you do have additional questions, please send emails to fiscal.cmo@fiscal.ca.gov. We will get this posted as soon as possible to the resources page that I showed you. Well, thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.